Ha ha ha! Finally, the Doom is back on the interwebs, and I just got done banging and clanging and getting ready to bust some butts of those jabronis like that Ben Grimm who's got a box of rocks for brains, and that nerd Reed Richards, and even that human furnace guy. I am just gonna snuff him out. But I am back, and when am I go up against any of those other heroes, I'm just gonna beat them down. It doesn't matter who they put in front of me. Doom is back, and he is gonna tear them up, and just I'm gonna make mincemeat of them.
Hey, wait a second. Wait. What's going on? What's going on here?
Oh.
What the heck happened? Hey guys, happy Halloween. I don't know what shenanigans were just going on here, but it is Halloween, I guess, and there's all kinds of shenanigans this time of the year. But welcome in to SideQuest Comics. This is Eric for our live Sunday show off with some more guests. Wow, I'm like a little disheveled here. I don't know what was going on here. I don't know. Some zombies throwing comics at me and stuff. But anyway, welcome into SideQuest Comics live show. Let's do some business, guys. Please smash that button, like, subscribe, comment. What was your favorite comic you're going to see tonight? Appreciate that. And while you're at it, check me out on Instagram. Drop me a line at sidequestcomics@gmail.com. How about we bring in some guests? Because I'm excited to bring some guests. We like talking comics, and it's the Halloween season. As you can see, I kind of redid the background a little bit, so give you guys something different to look at. Chime in at the comments if you're watching live. We'd like to hear from you guys. I see we have Thing in here. And then I am going to jump right with this man here from Hall Yeah Comics, who is our guest. So let's bring in Nate. Nate, what's up?
Hello. There was a supervillain in here earlier.
I don't know what's going on. I step out of the room for a minute and come back and shenanigans.
I am all for shenanigans. Hey, thanks for having me back, man.
I was gonna call you out on that, but let's bring our other guest. We have Steve, first time the show, Stevie D.
Hey everybody, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad you can make it, Steve. I mean, you know Nate, you know Steve. I know you guys have interacted a little bit, so I figured let's bring in some friends, right?
I love that.
About friends and talking about comics and stuff. And yes, Nate, this is what you were gonna get because you are the first two-time guest.
What?
On the live show, so you get a two-dinger.
I'm gonna tell my wife that.
Now I have a special guest tonight too. I tried keeping it secret from you guys, so I'm gonna bring him to the stage right now.
All right,
and I gotta unmute him because he's on mute and everything too. And it's Mr.
Oh,
Akins from What's
Mr.
Comic
Mr.
Rack.
Akins, how are you, buddy?
I am wonderful. How's everybody else doing?
Oh,
Really
great.
well.
So
Even
yeah,
better now.
I'm super excited, guys, to have you guys on my Halloween show tonight. I'm excited to talk about scary books, right? We're going to do scary books and we're going to play a game. Nate's familiar with this game, but I had to throw a curveball in it a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit different. But what I want to start with is I want to start with some intros so the people watching can get to know you guys a little bit. And Nate, they already know you. No,
Yeah.
Nate, what's your origin story, favorite character, stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess right now I think my favorite character is probably Superman. I'm a Superman, Batman guy.
Nothing to do with the red and blue behind you?
No, nothing to do with that. But I'm also like a pretty bad ADHD collector. I mean, if I like it, I grab it, and I grab a lot of things. I'm buried in nonsense and silliness, and I just love it. So primarily DC, but yeah. And my origin story is I'm a reader, and I've been a reader of comics since I was a little kid. I even still have some of my childhood comics. So
Okay.
I just love the medium, man.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me with comics, and it still is art, which sometimes can be a dangerous thing because I'll admit I can be a cover buyer. And then read the book and be like, what is this trash I just read? You know? Yeah.
Nate,
Well,
how many comics do you think you own?
Well, according to CLZ, it's just over 4,000.
Okay.
But I've got, I'm not exaggerating. Okay. I've got 6 long boxes and probably another 10 short boxes that are not in CLZ. So
Okay.
it's gross, like to the point that I'm going to actually have to start paring down and choosing some things.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if you were at your max and going, okay, I'm going to have to start. My room is full. My area is full.
Yeah.
I'm going to start paring down stuff.
I'm not at my max in terms of like things that I still want to track down, but I'm at my max where it's like, okay, maybe getting this run was kind of stupid and I should just get it in a different way or read it or let that one go to someone else. And no, I'm not talking about my Nomad run.
You mean you don't do what I do and just move to a bigger house that has a bigger basement?
Well, my wife was asking me today. She was up here helping me out in the room, and she's like, are you going to be able to take this stuff down? Because we do have a basement. It's just not quite it's not finished yet. It's not usable. And I was like, yeah, if the humidity's okay, I will go down there.
Yep.
If you had to choose, Nate, between the Ferret and Nomad, which one you choosing?
Mr. Darn, that's like choosing
Nomad. I'd go with Nomad.
That's like the house is on fire and I could only get one kid. No. I'm gonna burn with both of them, Mr. Akins. I'm going down with the ship.
Big Nasty said, don't get rid of the ferret.
I'm not. It's always right here within reach.
Oh man. All right. So my second guest today is Steve Driscoll, otherwise known as Stevie D on the YouTube channel. Steve, give us an origin story and favorite characters, because we haven't heard favorite characters. I think I know one just looking at your screen right now.
Okay. Well, it goes way back to 1963, 64. I was 4 years old at the time. And my mother got a subscription to the Dr. Seuss books when they were first coming off the presses for the very first time. And so my 3 brothers and I would sit there on the couch and Mom would read these Dr. Seuss. So right away, I associated language with pictures. And like every kid in school, you give them a textbook, what's the first thing they do? They look at the pictures. I always did. And so from that, my father, he used to take the Sunday paper, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And that thing was a very, very big paper, thick, full of advertisements. And my dad would sit there in his easy chair reading the paper. And he'd give me what he called the funny papers. So
Okay.
so I had to buy a paper because I was wanting to talk about this. Everybody that knows the funny papers. But the thing that's interesting is the St. Louis Post-Dispatch went from like 75 cents an issue to $4 an issue. And then the size of it shrunk down to about a third of what it used to be. But they still had the funny papers. And the first time I had a comic book in my hand was a year or two later. And my friend Gary lived down the street, walking distance from the house. You're in first grade, right? So him and his older brother had 3 or 4 comics in the backyard. So we're playing and we're looking at them. I remember it being a Fantastic Four comic book. So I was trying to think, well, if it's from 1965 or 6, that's a relatively old Fantastic Four, which is kind of a cool thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And my favorite character is Iron Man.
Okay. You got something in common with this guy right here then.
Oh, yes, we're Iron Man brothers.
Hey, that could be a comic right there.
Part of the Iron Legion.
Yes, we know where all the secret armors are stored in the vault.
All right, Mr. Akins, origin story. Some people know you, some don't. I think most do, though. And we kind of open, revealed the favorite character there a little bit. But how'd you get started? I know you kind of used to steal comics. Is that it?
Well, yeah, the first time I ever saw any comic books was in my brother's room, and I would take his comics and read those. So that was my first exposure to comics. And it was a Fantastic
larceny.
Four comic. It was a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby title. And after that, like Nate, I was primarily a reader. And putting these things in, when I was a kid, I was stacking them on the shelf. I had a bookshelf and they were just being stacked on the shelf. And it was only years later that, I could put them in bags and I could put them in these boxes. And that way I can find them faster if I want to get a hold of one of them. So I think now I'm still a reader, but I've gone into the collecting aspect of it, of buying some more expensive issues and stuff. But I still love to read the comic books. I still, I've been kind of what you would call a retro reader. I've been going back and reading things that I didn't read as a kid, that I didn't get a hold of then. And so that's kind of what I'm doing, is getting things that I didn't have. Like I finished my Iron Man run, and right now that's kind of what I'm reading, issues 1 to 100, which I wasn't able to read when I was a kid. So
okay. So most of you guys, if I remember right, a lot of you guys are you're not getting the new stuff really, right? I mean, Nate, you do sometimes, right? Yeah.
I have a pull list, and I do get new books, but I'm pretty picky. If a book ceases to wow me for like 2 months in a row, it's gone. Like they're just too expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't get as many as you do.
Yeah, I have a problem. Like I said, artwork.
Yeah. And that there's nothing wrong with that, but like the covers that come out now are just so amazing, and you're like, I don't know. I almost wish they would just do a cover book sometimes with all this alternative art.
I've mentioned to people that it's like I kind of got sucked into that variant cover thing, and it's like I had to really tell myself that, why am I getting this? I'm just getting it for artwork, for the cover buy, when nowadays I can go find the print or even download it and print it on my inkjet or whatever, that I don't need to spend $5-6 just to look at this thing when I can do it in other ways. It's just, I don't know, you're at the store, it's a little bit easier that when they hand you that big stack, it's like, oh, okay, look at these,
Well, that's what I had to do. I had to stop my pull list when I wanted to buy Iron Man 1. I knew it was going to be an expensive comic. And so I stopped all my pull lists. It didn't buy anything for about 3 months, saving up money, because even dollar bin diving, you can kind of get a little addicted to that, because I'll go through and I'll pull out 20 books.
I hadn't noticed.
And right behind me, there's a long box full of dollar comics that I get at different sales, and I don't know what to do with them right away, so I stick them in there.
Yeah, when you ever in the comic book shop and there's a guy that goes, and the next guy he's getting like 10 at a time. Boom, 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 boom. And then there's the guy that takes one out and gets out his magnifying glass, opens it up, examines every nick and cranny,
Looks at that spine.
and then he puts it back.
You're so right. That's what
That's
it.
right.
That's what it looks like. That's funny, Steve.
The hobby just creates like-minded people, I guess. Goofy people that like love artwork and good stories, and I used to go on Wednesdays when I was a school teacher. I'm retired now. To the comic shop, and I would decompress from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I get in them stacks, and I'm just yeah, and then you forget about everything.
It's like my wife has her foot massager. I have long boxes that I can just thumb through.
Yes.
I don't know if it's quite the same
Absolutely.
thing, but it does decompress me. You know, that whole collating and rebagging and boarding, and something about putting it in order, sorting it. Whether
I was
you
about to say it's a hobby for some people that are OCD. I got to have things in order, got to complete the run, those kind of things.
Yeah.
I got to rebag this.
I'm like
Bags
that
are the
with
same
comic
kind of
books a little
bags.
bit.
It is a therapeutic thing to bring order to chaos. And that's a part, it is an aspect of, I think, being any kind of collector. Whether, the order is that I'm getting specific issues, or like you said, like I love the upkeep. Like I just pulled a bunch of, and I'll grab them and show, but a bunch of old boards that were not like acid free or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so the back images are burned onto those boards.
Yes.
And that almost looks like weird ass artwork that I kept in a pile over here. Like I'm going to do something with this trash. But I was like, oh, I can't throw that away. That shows the Mortal Kombat video game from
It's like a
1992.
bazooka. It's like a bazooka gum tattoo. You know?
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Well, guys, do you want to play a game? Now, Nate knows kind of this game that I came up with the show.
Would you like to play a game?
After we play the game, we'll be well enough to show our books.
Yes.
Well, we're going to play a game that I like to call
Icons.
Now, in this game, that was my wife, by the way. In this game, what we usually do is I have a bunch of names that I write on notepads, and I throw them in a little bucket and we draw out. So I got a nice little new cup there. So I am adding some new ones to the iconic characters. So we're adding Iron Man. See, I planned ahead a little bit here. I'm adding the Incredible Hulk because I can't believe I did not have him in here from the past couple times. And Nate, it was tough with you returning. I'm like, who am I going to put in there for Nate? But you know what? I think it's pretty easy to say.
Oh, all right.
He's going to put the ferret in there.
Well, I was gonna say
Yeah,
I can't believe Superman's not in there, but he's not a
Well,
lot
I
of
think
people's
I had
favorites.
Supergirl in there.
That thing
Okay.
is bouncing around everybody's comic book shows. It's getting a lot of play.
So yeah, we got this, and there's gonna be a twist, but I'm waiting to tell you guys. So let me get my bucket. We're gonna use the patented bucket head to draw a iconic superhero to talk about. Let me mix it up a little bit. And whoop, I think I just lost one somewhere. Oh, I don't know where it went. So let me balance this one out. We have, who did we get? We shouldn't be using this guy because it's just gonna, egg him on. I think I saw a flash of green when we started. But the first one we got is Doom.
Wow.
Dr. Doom.
So very iconic character. Now, Dr. Doom, let's start off. Does anybody know Doom's first appearance?
I think so.
Okay, Mr. Akins.
Is it Fantastic Four #5?
It is number 5. It came out 1962. So older than me. I think it's older than me, right?
I'm a little bit older than
A
that.
little bit, okay. What do we think of Dr. Doom? I mean, there's a thing about Victor Von Doom that people don't realize, that he's a sorcerer. His mother was a sorceress, so he inherited that knowledge and that ability, and people just see him as that supervillain for Fantastic Four, Iron Man, who else? X-Men, Daredevil. I mean, Spider-Man. He kind of goes the whole Marvel universe, and people just see this guy in a suit like Iron Man. He's his gauntlet blast and stuff like that.
He is almost, I know he's not like cosmic, but like on the level of like what Darkseid is for DC. Like he can be a universal big bad. And yeah, he's because of the sorcery, it allows him to kind of be at whatever level he needs to be at for the writers to use him effectively. And I think that's one of the reasons that in terms of like using him, in terms of look, oh my God, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2. I mean, there's one way back there. 3. It's weird. I am not a Fantastic Four guy. I don't like the Fantastic Four all that much, but I love Dr. Doom because he's been in other comics I read, like the X-Men, and been that major villain, or Spider-Man. He's kind of an interesting character in the sense that he's one of those guys that he's not a bad guy in his own mind.
Right.
He is trying to bring order.
In an Adolf Hitler kind of way.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He's a politician, and he knows best how to run your life for you. I am the superior intelligence, so I should be able to be the one in control and running everything for everybody, because then everything would run smooth. Everybody will be happy. I can remember a Fantastic Four story. It was written by Byrne, of course, and his subjects actually love him in Latveria because of the order that he brings and stuff. So it was one of those situations where they came in thinking they were going to liberate, Latveria and turn the people against him, and they couldn't turn the people against him because they loved him. They loved the order that was brought by his rule. Yeah,
because they were in a bad way before he came into power, and I'm really excited for what they're going to do with him. I know, what was it, the end of whatever crossover event, he kind of threw trickery, but he's a spoiler here, you guys. He's a Sorcerer Supreme now.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to what they're going to do with him. There's a lot of hype with, of course, Robert Downey Jr. is going to play him. They're bringing him back to the cinema, and he's one of those characters that he's everywhere. He can be everywhere just because he's kind of that deep character.
Do you think it's going to be a true Doom character, or is it going to be one of these other offshoots, where, an alternate universe of Iron Man that,
Yeah, because they have done a lot of the multi-universe, haven't they? And it's like, even in the comics, there's a couple different versions of them. Like with the Ultimates, there's a different version of them there. I don't know. I'm worried. Now, like when the movie 20 years ago came out, I kind of liked that Dr. Doom. He had that arrogance about him. So I think that's going to be the key. Don't make him just a villain, a super villain, type of thing. Explore his character a little bit. Why is he this way? That kind of thing. And I think it'll be interesting.
I think the best villains are the ones you feel a little bit of empathy toward. Like that's the reason Magneto is such a great villain, is because of where he comes from. You can kind of understand the reason he's doing the things that he's doing. You've got to build some type of empathy with Doom that I understand why he's doing it. And like you said, you can empathize with him in a way.
I don't know what they're going to do with him in the movie, but I get the feeling that like something with the Fantastic Four movie, the way that it's a retro futuristic, I feel like it takes place in an alternate. I'm wondering if they're going to do a reverse here and streamline a bunch of, you know, alterniverses to bring things in line. I hope it's not a Tony Stark Doctor Doom. I really want it to be Victor Von Doom more than anything.
There was a Battle World story where Earth is destroyed and he's keeping everything together with magic and stuff. Oh, it could be real cool if they did that plot.
Yeah,
That's Richard. I mean, Richard is like speaking what I'm hoping. I'm hoping
Yes.
that the Russo brothers have not made a bad Marvel movie, and I really hope that they continue that streak. The aspect of Doom, what you brought up, that hasn't been explored in the movies, and I don't know, you know, how deep you have to go with it, but is the fact that he's also like a sovereign ruler of a nation. And that he, even though the people love him, he is oppressing them. He's kind of got the North Korean keeping them locked in. They don't know anything about the outside world. I would love to see that aspect used somehow. And I love Robert Downey Jr., but his casting makes me a little bit nervous because he's such a known quantity.
but I think with Robert Downey Jr., just based on his past work, that the level of an actor that he is, I think he's a good fit for it, because I can see him flipping the script, so to say, and do that villain that you can show some empathy towards and understand why he is like he is. So,
and if anybody can introduce a character, like you said, it's the Russo brothers. Think of how they introduced Black Panther. I mean, that was the best way to introduce a character. You already knew, you know, you felt empathy toward him because of what happened to his dad. I mean, it was just a perfect way to introduce a character without a bunch of exposition. With, you know, to me, that was perfect. And if anybody can do it, it's the Russo brothers. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we kind of covered Doom pretty good. He's a complicated character, but very cool imagery. Kind of a throwback, but he still works for some reason. So
Cool outfit.
here is the twist. Usually I pick out two iconic superheroes, but we're doing something a little bit different. And I actually had to take this one out of our main one, the Predator. But I came up with a list of, what do you want to call these? Super evil demon creatures of the night type of thing. So horror movie stars. And something that comics like to do are crossovers. I mean, we saw it recently with Predator versus Wolverine and Black Panther right now, Batman versus Predator, Alien versus Avengers, on and on and on. They do these mashup crossovers all the time. So we're going to pick out a horror monster here. You know what?
I've got one that would be great. I already have one in my head that would be great. That would be paired up with Doom. Since he's from an Eastern Bloc country.
Well, after we pick one, I'll read the rest of them that could have been picked, just so we know what we had here. All right, so let me get the bucket. The old bucket head.
Watch your keys. You may lose them.
Yeah.
Credit cards don't work tomorrow.
I erased all my VHS tapes. Sorry, I'm an old man. That's a throwback.
I have some. Stop it.
All right, so I grabbed out. This is a good one. This is very iconic for Halloween, but we got Michael Myers. So, guys, all these characters I did look up to make sure they did have a first appearance in comics. But let me read before we get into Michael here. The other choices that I had were Predator. I had him in the regular poll. We have Chucky, Freddy Krueger, Jason, and I had the alien Xenomorph as other picks. But we ended up getting one of my favorites, Michael Myers. So now, do you guys have any guesses of what his first appearance is in comics?
I was watching something somebody had, and they actually had the first appearance, and I can't remember. I know it's an independent. I know it's not Marvel, DC. It's an independent.
And I think I saw something where it took them years and years and years from the time they made the movie to present them in a comic book.
Yeah, I think it was like something to do with the rights of them and stuff like that. Well, I happen to have one. I was just digging it out. I should have dug it out earlier, but I didn't know who was going to get picked. So Michael Myers' first appearance is in Halloween #1. Came out in 2000 by Chaos Comics. And let me do this one right here.
Wow.
Okay.
So yeah, this was one that I actually found as part of a collection. I got a big collection, and this was in there. I was like, holy cow, this is in here? It's one of those ones I think that gets missed a lot as his first appearance. And I know they made some variant covers that are a little more collectible than this. This is just the A cover. There's like foils and stuff.
I think one has like a lightning bolt going on in it.
Yeah. They can be hard to find because of that company Chaos is a lot of people they did a lot of weird titles. Like they had licensing for, was it Purgatory, I think was the character's name, and Lady Death, and
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Evil Ernie.
Evil Ernie. I think they did Undertaker too, like a series of Undertaker comics. So
Chaos, ladies of chaos.
but what do you guys think of Michael Myers? I mean, he's interesting. I mean, he's kind of a typical serial killer from the 80s movies, right?
Yeah.
The unstoppable force.
I
I don't think he has superpowers. He wasn't like Jason, who has, he's
Right.
immortal and can regenerate. I think
He has
Michael
psychopathic strength.
Yeah. I just don't see a scenario where Michael Myers comes out on top.
No.
he's kind of like he's that one track dog, right? He's like he sees something he wants to eat and he won't stop till he gets it unless you stop him. They take a Mack truck to do it, but
Yeah.
and it's just too bad he's obsessed with all them high school girls. That's his kryptonite right there, right?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Don't do it, Michael. Oh, so okay, yeah. So he's kind of just a big, burly, strong guy that just won't stop. He doesn't have limits. Nothing super power about him. So I'm trying to catch up here.
I'm trying to think. Like originally, the John Carter movies was just 1 and 2, because 3 is the Silver Shamrock. Kind of has nothing to do with
Yeah,
Yes, the one where people are putting the mask on.
Yeah. And then did John Carter like give his blessing to any of the other ones as far as like being in the original universe or whatever?
See, there's like 4 or 5 different universes for their timelines.
Okay.
Like 1, 2, and then they jumped to H2O.
Right. Yeah.
And then they started some other ones that link back to this, like 1, 2, and then 6 and 7. It's very confusing. And then you got the Rob Zombie ones, which kind of basically rebooted everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Do you like the original one? Is it one of your like, oh, that's a really good movie. That's a really good Halloween movie. Do you like it or not?
Yeah, I liked it.
Nate?
I like the last one I saw. I don't know if it's the last one where Jamie Lee Curtis is in a psychiatric ward and she doesn't take her medicine and she's building traps to catch him so she catches him like with a wired cable, and I think she might have a chainsaw or something. She outsmarts him. That's what she did.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the original Halloween movie. Honestly, like I like the third one better than I like 1 or 2. But I like crap, and that is some excellent crap. I mean that is high art.
Garage Geek is asking, did Michael go to Mars? No, but Jason did.
I
And
did. I put it in there. Jason went to space.
love Jason X. That's one of my favorite all-time movies.
Hell yes, brother. We're going to space. We better take Jason.
I mean, it's just that movie just cracks me up when they lock him in like a was a hologram type of
Yes,
thing, and
yes.
he's like, oh, this is like paradise. He takes these kids in sleeping bags and starts whacking them on a tree, and I'm like, oh my god, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But
that's
we're talking
one of my
about Michael
favorites.
here. So let's see. I'll try to catch up in the chat. The chat is on fire tonight, guys. I can't keep up with them tonight.
Oh, they're nuts.
I do actually like the original movies. Something about that first movie, John Carpenter created that element of suspense. You don't know, the killer's out there just based on the music. It's like, is he around that hedge? Is he by that tree? And usually it's that paranoia. He did a good job of making you feel the character's paranoia, and nothing ever happens. But just when they started to relax, then he's there,
Have you seen the one where the guy, he has a TikTok or a YouTube Shorts where he's wearing the mask all over the place, like in his neighborhood? He's driving around with it and that kind of thing. Have you seen those TikTok videos? They're so I love them. Once where he drives up to the to get your food at like McDonald's, and he's just sitting there, and then they go to hand him, he puts his hands out and he goes to grab them. They scream. It's just so hilarious.
Yeah, so I'd like to see, Big Nasty says, I'd like to see Jason and Michael go up against each other. Now, we did see Jason and Freddy.
Yeah.
But like I said, those are two supernatural characters. They both have kind of a supernatural power, whereas Michael's he's just a loon.
Right.
So I don't know how that would work. So, but that kind of brings us to the next little part. What I like to do is I like to pit our iconic characters off against each other. Who is going to win in this Michael versus Doom?
I think the question is,
Doom.
How long does Michael Myers last?
Yeah. I think he could send a couple of his Doom bots to take care of it for him,
I love the idea of it almost being comical with Michael Myers, and like you said, Eric, the original movie, the way that they set the tension, I'm not its biggest fan, but for its time, it was really well done. Like when Jamie Lee's walking home from school and, she keeps turning around, looking at the bushes, it's not there, but it's there. Like you have that kind of build up or something, walking into the castle in Latveria, Michael Myers in his William Shatner mask.
Yes.
And as soon as he gets up there, it's just Doom could just crush him in one spell, in one bit of super sorcery, and that's it. Then the Doombot, Steve, they go clean up the mess.
Yeah, I can see.
How
Doom,
can he get the knife through his armor? And that's what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, that'd be yes. He goes in to stab him with a machete, it just breaks, just shatters.
I could see it one of those deals where Doom has all the surveillance. He's and he sees him on the screen, and then he turns around and he's not on the screen. Where did he go?
Oh yeah,
one of those.
That's thematic. That's
laser
nice.
gun off his castle and just next.
He gets an intruder alert, but he goes to the cameras. He doesn't see anybody there. That kind of thing.
And then when he kind of walks away, you see him sitting there staring at one of the cameras.
Yes.
Yes.
See, we're making the next movie.
The mask is spinning around on the ground in circles. That's the only thing left.
The seventh timeline for Halloween movies now.
Well, now I know it's not. He's not after Doom. Doom's trying to figure out who's killing his own guy. His Michael Myers has been let loose in Latveria, and there's murders going on. He's trying to figure out who's doing it. So he's got Doom bots all looking around, for this guy, and he's walking around the corner, then he's behind him. Never really attacks him, never really sees him.
And because Michael Myers has, as Steve coined, psychopathic strength, Doombots are not impervious. So Michael Myers should get to murder some Doombots.
Oh yeah, that's why he at least has to send them two or three to get them.
Yeah, and that'd be a great little red herring in your opening, or Doom, because you always think the Doombots are Doom, and so when to see that machete go through the mask, it's like, how did it happen? Well, because it didn't. Yeah. But Yeah, man. This movie's writing itself. I'm into this now. As Richard just said, I'm not the biggest Michael Myers fan, but now I totally want to workshop this.
Here's
and
a
pitch it
good
to
title
somebody.
from Richard too. Halloween Doomsday.
Better than H2O.
It could be a normal Doom movie, and in the background there's always Michael Myers somewhere in the background, like in a corner, somewhere else.
Kind of just peeking over a bank of computer,
Yes.
just staring at him. And then you have that music.
Or like you see his mask reflection in the office glass while you're at your keyboard, and you turn around and it's gone. And you look back and there it is again, and you turn around and that's it.
Yeah.
I like this. Hey, why is that Doombot wearing overalls?
Right.
So, vote. What do we think, guys? I think this one's kind of one-sided.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Doom is going to take this because it's Doom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Doom.
Doom's beat the whole Avengers and all of Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and I don't think he's beat Spider-Man, though. May have to look that one up.
No, Marvel editorial did that.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I think this one's a pretty easy one that Doom's going to take it.
Yeah.
And sorry, Michael, you're
Yeah.
going to have to go back to the padded room, and yeah, they're going to take your mask away from you. So, all right. So that was our Halloween edition of the icons, and I got to find my button. Icon. She's gonna be happy. She got it twice.
Yeah, that's great.
So let's say we look at some books, guys, because when we get on these shows, we like to see books. And tonight's theme, I told all my guests to think about scary, spooky Halloween theme type of thing. And you guys ready to show off some fun books? And I know there's people in our chat that got their notebooks ready and they're getting ready to for their wallets to cry at us. So I already apologized to some of them today.
That's why I watch these streams.
Nate, do you want to start? Because I know you said you might have to cut out a little early.
Yeah. Do you want me to just kind of, you know what? You tell me when to stop if I need to stop. I got a ton of stuff here.
You just roll through it. Now, usually what I tell people is to bring like 4 recent quested books and maybe one that's your favorite. Now, that one favorite could be either one of the 4, it could be another 5th one. I'm open. I break the rules all the time, even though this is more of like just a guideline. So let's go, Nate. What do you got? What did you find for us?
Okay, this one I've had for a while, but I showed it off on another stream and they didn't know what it was, and it broke my heart. And I said, if anybody's going to know, it's going to be you. Okay. You,
Okay.
Eric, maybe Steve, and now Mr. Akins, I think you too.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I thought about digging it out today.
Okay. So my faith in humanity is restored. If you do not know the movie Krull, it's basically like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign from and Mr. Akins and I have that in common as well. Like, I mean, it's got a Cyclops. They put the party together. They hang out in a tavern. They're going on a quest. It has the glaive, which is the stupidest but coolest fantasy weapon of all time.
When we were kids and we saw that, we're like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, in D&D, did you try to recreate it in D&D?
I have it. I have friends that we've like written it. If I can find it, I'll send it to you, man, so that you can use it in your campaign. Like we had to have it. So yeah, it's just a classic fantasy, like, save the princess kind of story, but practical effects and things. As an 80s kid, that was something.
I have that movie. I think I may have mentioned I had that movie on a double disc with Beastmaster.
Oh yeah,
that's the evening right there.
That's a good double feature. Beastmaster's a little greasy. Like, I mean, to rewatch that one, there's some elements in that one that didn't age well. Here's a new book that came out on Wednesday. DC Horror. This tied up Superman like cover is just horrific. So, and also, like, what would put Superman in a position where this could be? Like, I almost wondered, like, is this somebody just in a Superman costume?
Yes.
You know, that's kind of what it seemed like more.
It
like,
is Halloween, right? So
right,
maybe it is.
exactly. The stories in this, I wasn't real big on it. But I want to give it a second read. There were only 2 stories.
As soon
when
as I saw that cover, I thought of that. What's that Batman where there's other people dressed up as Batman?
Yeah,
and Joker's
yeah.
got him.
In
You
the Dark
know,
Knight.
and he's torturing them.
Yes.
That's exactly what I thought there.
This is
And Batman gets them and go home.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
My wife is chiming in here. She said maybe the foot massager decompresses her from me quizzing her on artists and characters. Trying to throw me under the bus there.
You know, horror anthologies, the new hotness, and this is a really good one that's coming out
Nate,
right now.
we were thinking a lot alike here.
Okay. Yeah. Are you liking this series? Are you reading it?
I do like it. It kind of gives me the feel of the old gritty, you know, horror anthologies.
It really does, like, in a way that some of the other ones maybe aren't. So this is number 3. Number 4 just came out. I really like this, like, whatever this art style is, where they've got the Cthulhu mythos mixed with, like, you know, dark, you know, sexy pinup girl art. It's a really cool motif for the covers, and the stories are what they are.
They're basically stories that there's no happy ending. It's just, how are you going to go type of thing.
Yeah. And then, you know, they've brought back EC titles, and I've been buying these, if nothing else, for the Lee Bermejo painted covers. They are horrifying.
Yeah,
they are
beautiful,
so good.
Yeah.
This one has been extremely hit and miss. A few of the stories have been really good, and a few of them have been, like, not good at all. This one is just like, I mean, we got creepy kids, sure, but, like, look at the clown. That's the scariest part.
Yeah, I think the clown's scarier.
So, and I just love, I have a couple of the old ones, well, reprints anyway, of old, I love the old EC books, love the covers, love the stories. So this one I picked up, this is like popular right now. So this is, it's just called Monsters by Mark Spears. And this is a boys homage cover. I don't know anything about this. The interior art, the story was actually pretty good. And the interior art kind of at times looks like a universal black and white movie. And
it does, yeah.
And this was cool, man. This was all over the Hot 10 and everybody was talking about it. But I would actually say that one was worth a read. And then I'm just kind of going quick here. This will be the last of my, like, modern-y stuff. So this came out last year, or the beginning of this year, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
I forgot to grab that. Yeah, I just got the trade of that because it just came out like a month ago.
That's what made me think of it, was I saw the trade just came out, and this is excellent. This was like cute furry animals, and one of them is a serial killer, and I'm going to get to the cover here in a minute. There it is.
There it is.
And we've got this, like, bisection where, you know, I don't want to give the story away, but, like, something very similar to this happens in the story. And, you know, this book was really, this one here, this is the main character, and I just love the, like, duality of her, you know, psychoticness overlaid on top of her calmness. But I actually have a first print of number 1. Like, I grabbed this when it first came out, and this is still a pretty pricey book. Not that I'm going to sell it.
I could never find those when they came out. They sold out so fast, and then
fast.
Yeah, and then to pick them up after the fact, I was just like, oh, maybe I'll just wait for the trade.
Yeah, and I was going to as well, and then on one drunken eBay binge, I found the number 1 for $10.
Oh wow!
When everybody else was selling it for way more, and I was lucky. I was able to snag it.
That's a good summary of that story right there. Richard's scary murder mystery, basically.
Yeah. And so, just, you know, I mean, these are reprints, but I just love the old EC crime suspense stories or Tales from the Crypt. I mean, this one, come on. That is like, you see stuff like this and you're like, oh, they did the comic code for a reason. But
when you read those things, it's like, how many ways can you figure out to kill somebody? It's it's
Yeah.
like let's figure out some imaginative way for this person to die. Is basically it.
And I have a couple of the oversized hardcover
Well, I've seen
collections.
those before. Those are nice.
They really are, and they're hard to find now because they're printing them as trades, which the
Yeah.
trades are nice too, but these are oversized and really cool. And I brought my Simpsons Halloween specials. So I mean, I love the freaking Simpsons, and even though I have a lot of these as individual issues, I still usually will pick up the trades just because they're easier to read and because I love the art. This one has so many callbacks to episodes on it. And then they release this. So this,
Holy cow.
yeah, this is the Treehouse of Horror Omnibus Volume 1. Volume
Wow.
2 is out. Dude, this glows in the dark. Like, it's awesome. It's awesome. This was actually one we saw in the store. I saw it at Barnes and Noble, and I didn't buy it from them. I bought it from In Stock Trade so I could get a discount. And this is one that, like, when I saw it and showed my wife, she was like, "Well, you have to get that one." I mean, sometimes it's really nice to be enabled, and and that's one where she really did her job. I'm gonna do just a few more here. Because I got a couple of cool ones here that I pulled for this. I'm not going to do everything, but I had a display back here on my cabinet of just Batman skulls. So as I was going through, like, just Batman issues where Dr. Phosphorus here, him and Batgirl, and I just really like this cover. But I was just digging through. I was like, wow, it was really easy for me to put together a Batman and skull or skeleton display. And this last one is this is the second appearance of Black Mask.
Okay.
And this is, I'm sorry, this is a better cover than his first appearance. His first appearance is just like two heads. It's kind of boring. But this one was pretty cool. This is an okay shape. This is Black Magic, which is a anthology that Jack Kirby drew for DC.
I just discovered that not that long ago. DC did a lot of those anthologies, and I didn't know about this one until recently.
Well, if you can find the number one is the one, I think it's called The Head, and it's just like this very Kirby giant head with arms and legs, and it's sitting in a chair. It's really creepy. I recommend checking that one out for sure. Okay. I'm going to end with a couple of big boys here. So this one, another one that I was enabled to pick up because my wife loves Elvira. I love Elvira. Again, it's like that child, that being an 80s kid. And so this, I love the Elvira's House of Mystery run, but this is the Dave Stevens cover with her on the broom.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I got in a bidding war of that one not that long ago, and I was getting frustrated. I had to be like, okay, I'm out. I got to pull out.
This is not the time of year to be buying it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I spent a decent amount of money on this, but I was just like, it's a good copy. And it's one that you're just, if you, the run is not that long, I think it's like 12 issues or something. Yeah. But if you're going to do the whole thing and you want to get this one, you're going to pay for it unless you just get stupid lucky. So, but the rest of them aren't that bad. But this one is just absolutely freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm hanging out with a bunch of Marvel guys. And so another, and I'll end with this. I'll end with these three. So another like horror-based DC character that I love a lot is Deadman. And I thought these covers were really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So this one is a Kelly Jones cover. And this is for I think it's just a two-part story called Exorcism. And he had several like little mini-series from Vertigo back in the day. And this was from an ongoing of Deadman. But this cover is by Mike Mignola.
That's a good one. Yeah, I found that in a dollar bin. I just got it based on the art. It's just so pops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so Deadman's first appearance is in Strange Tales 205. And it's like that trapeze look. I don't have that one. Like, that's a pricey book. But I got number 206 for a really good price. And it's a good looking cover, man. Yeah. So this is his second appearance. And so I love my Silver Age DC, you know, a 12 center with Deadman on the cover. He's just such an interesting character in that, like, he can see the world, he can't interact with it unless he possesses someone else's body. And he always does it to do the right thing.
It's such a weird superhero.
I know. It's so cool. It's so out there. So yeah, that's kind of the Halloween and you know, scary stuff that I had, which isn't much because I'm not I'm a big horror movie fan, but I'm not a big like horror book collector.
I kind of, this time of the year, I usually get a little more amped up about those books. But I think overall, I've always been kind of liking the spookiness of the comics and stuff because it's a different way to tell the story, especially in comic book form. Let's see. Christopher is asking, was that Neil Adams?
I don't think it is. I'd have to look it up. I was just looking, like, I don't feel like those are Neil Adams faces.
No. Yeah, it's close, but I know it's of that time period.
Yeah. I think the interior art might be, or maybe 205 was. Okay. But I don't think the cover for this one is, at least.
All right. So, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, Stevie D.
All right. What is always cool is when they take an established character and they horrify them. So here's a cool Iron Man.
Oh man, I don't think I've ever seen that one, Steve.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
No,
it's from 2021. I need my magnifying. 2021.
Okay.
Bifocals don't do it anymore, guys. I got an app on my phone that helps me, you know. But that's a spooky book. And I pulled out these Captain America. It's like a werewolf saga, 6 parts, but I lost one. But I'll show you the ones I have. And this J. Jonah Johnson's son is an astronaut and he's missing. And he's somehow turned into a werewolf, but an interior shot. I love this Captain America looking out the window, and you get this. Can you guys see it?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I love that art right there.
Yeah,
and I am a cover buyer too, but I like good stories. You got to be a little everything to stay at this. This is one of the villains, and Captain America is going to team up with Dr. Druid, who at this time just got kicked out of the Avengers, or they left on bad footing. And then you get Wolverine in the mix, and they're creating this little town. They're creating a whole village of werewolves synthetically. Dr. Nightshade is the mad scientist in this one. But they tried the serum on Wolverine, and it wouldn't blend with his mutant stuff he already has inside of him. So they said, oh, he's wild enough. He don't need it. And here's my favorite cover of the series.
Yes.
Yes.
And they inject, it worked on Captain America, but all the other werewolves didn't have any intelligence. You know, they're like in the pack. He still has most of his Captain America intelligence, but he's like talking like the Hulk throughout. Hulk smell, Captain America smell, you know. All right. And they prevail. So it's an involved story. But here's a fun book. It is
the
Three
awesome.
Stooges, Curse of Frankenstooge, #1. I got all right, there's the best I can probably get it.
That is great.
And this is an American mythology comic book, and the quality of these books is tremendous. And there's portraits in it, like full-page portraits of each of the Stooges, which I like the Three Stooges. All right, you know. So that's a cool cover, I think.
That's awesome. I love that.
That is cool.
Now here's after when I was a kid and we got home from school, it was right before the 5 o'clock news would come on. So we'd watch the old monsters, in reruns.
I was watching that before we jumped on. It just made my heart feel so good.
I love it.
And they also have photography inside the comic book.
Okay.
And, it's interesting like that. And here's I think it's a painted cover. It's Smith, Brown, Jones, Alien Accountant Halloween Special.
Wow.
But what I really like about it is it has all kinds of characters we know in there.
Yeah.
And I liked her, where the way she's squeezing her head. She's a vampire type character,
Steve, would you read that title again, please?
Yes, I will. It is Smith, Brown, Jones, Alien Accountant, Halloween Special.
See, that's why I have like 6,000 books up here, man. Because I hear something like that exists, and now Smith, Brown, Jones, Alien Accountant.
And this is the company right here. The only book I have like it.
Huh. Interesting.
I've heard of that. I've seen books from that publisher before.
Now, Nate, you showed a Batman one, right? A spooky Batman one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He did.
Here's my spooky Batman one.
Oh yeah,
I love this color.
I
cover.
do too.
And I don't know if it's glaring on you guys. Is it?
No, that's a great cover.
No, that's good. That's good right there.
That's horrifying.
It's so good. There's a lot of horrifying covers from this run with the Court of Owls, where they like also show Batman like morphed into an owl. That's very like disturbing as well.
Now, Eric, you like Vampirilla, right?
Yeah.
I only have a few, but I love this Vampirilla cover.
Oh, from Dynamite. Okay. Okay.
That's great.
Because it's like her little pet bats flying around her, and down below she's got them all under control. It's like her posse,
Yeah, I was showing off an old 70s one because it was in the magazine format back then in black and white. And I was showing that to my wife and saying, see, it's more about not the cover and the skimpy outfit, but it's the artwork and those original stories of her. It's like the artwork was phenomenal back then with the line work and before they added the color, and the art helped tell the story back then. So I think that's one of the reasons why I got drawn into her book, is telling that it can be gruesome story, but very simply and basic artwork. So
I think one of the designers of the character was a fashion designer.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Now, my next book has a mouse chewing the corner. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite covers because my criteria is this cover by itself tells a story, and it's do you dare enter the House of Mystery, number 190.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And so you can see everything going on, and the little children are there, and it's a witch's house, and a witch is sneaking up on them. They're in danger. They don't quite know it yet.
Yeah.
And let me get in close to see if you guys can see the mouse.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's I got books missing whole corners. That's nothing, Steve.
Oh, I know. I got a Hulk. It's number 6 annual. It's so distressed, but I love it. I got it in the cheapo bin.
Yeah.
And I'll do one more for right now. This is Looney Tunes 277. It's more of a modern book. I got it written down somewhere, but it's Bugs Bunny, and it's a Halloween cover.
I have some of my fondest memories as a kid are the Looney Tune Halloween episodes where like Bugs Bunny's running from the crazy witch and the vampire there where they're battling out abracadabra, hocus pocus, and he's
Yes.
turning into a bat, and Bugs is an umpire. I love
Yeah,
this.
is her name Witchy Poo? Is that right? The
I
Looney
know
Tunes witch?
she's a reoccurring character
Yeah.
in the Looney Tunes cartoons I watched all the
Right.
time.
Yeah. I
That's cool.
agree. Those cartoons are so good, and especially the themed Halloween ones.
Well, that's my first set.
All right. Mr. Akins, what did you bring? Iron Man? More Iron Man?
I mean, do you want to see an Iron Man one that has a little spooky to it? That would
Oh,
be.
there we go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Frankenstein.
I love this
One-on-one.
cover. This is a great cover, I think. This is done by Dave Cochran.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
This is one of the ones when I had as a kid. This right here is in perfect spot to be cut out because that's what I would do. I would cut this. So this is not the one I had as a kid because I cut all these little pictures out like this right here and made my own little stands and did my own little stuff with them. So yes, this is one I had to get back from the back bin to get this one back. But I love this cover. I think this one's really cool. So there's an Iron Man. Since Nate showed some EC comics, let's do some reprints on those.
Ooh, wee, look at
Nice.
I love these covers are so cool. And like you said, I like the stories inside. I love to read what's in there.
that. Now, what's more dangerous? What's more dangerous on that cover, that axe or that brazier? That brazier looks like it'll poke somebody's eyes out.
Vault of Horror.
I love that
not
they
started
reprinted
diving
these
into
too.
those yet.
And Tales from the Crypt.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
What's more horrific than being nailed into a coffin and buried alive? I
Yeah.
mean,
And
I love
like
them.
like Steve said, I feel like the covers, like that one in particular, a lot of those EC covers tell a story right on the cover. Like what you're gonna get, and that's just one of those things that draws you in. It's not dull. There's a lot happening.
Yeah, exactly. And since everybody showed a Batman, let me show a Batman here.
Yes.
Detective Comics number 402. I think it was 400 was the first appearance of Man Bat, and I think this was a 3-part thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Batman actually looks scared. I love a more grounded Batman. I don't like when he's not necessarily with the rest of the. I think he has a place in the Justice League. I like him, but I love the more grounded Batman stories. And this is a great Neil Adams cover right here.
Yeah.
You can't go
Neil
wrong.
Adams Man Bat is so good.
Yeah, it is. This is I actually got this from Ricky at All Sorts of Words
Okay.
at Terrificon. And I know Son of Crom is looking for Batman issues. And I sent him a picture of this. He said, yeah, I want it. So I'll be sending this one off to him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's nice of you.
I always show this one. I think this one that gets showed every Halloween, but this is my favorite Batman story right here. And 22 Comics had a great idea. He said that he was going to reread this as it goes in time, meaning when the next holiday rolls around, he's going to read the next issue.
Okay.
So he's going to read this one for Halloween, and then when Thanksgiving one, he's going to read the Thanksgiving one, and so on and so on. I thought that was a really cool idea, so I think I'm going to do that as well. Read it in, as he would say, real time.
Yeah.
I have not, I'll admit it, read that storyline.
Hey, it's a great. It's like I said, it's my favorite Batman story.
It's one of those ones I want to try and find it instead of tracking down all the issues in a big Omni.
And there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's like I get a lot of trades from the library. This is one that I would say absolutely. Just to read it.
Yeah.
It's such a good noir, and like Mr. Aiken said, it's a grounded Batman story. The supervillains are in it, and it's in the Batman universe, but it's just a great ground level Batman crime noir story.
That's kind of the way I also like my Spider-Man stories. I like them more grounded and not in the cosmic realm, so to speak. I used to love these as a kid.
I only have a few, but I almost pulled mine. I love Weird War.
Yes. And you know, when you read one of these and you read a lot of modern comics, if you do a word count of modern comics as opposed to something like this,
Right.
it's going to be, you're going to get 4 times the amount of words in just one of the stories. Because a lot of times these were, like you said, anthologies that would have more
Right.
than one story in it. Just the one story would have more words in it than a modern comic would. So I love these as a kid. So I've got a few of these. Got that one. I've got this one. I showed this one off last night.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't get more Halloween than a Frankenstein, a vampire, a werewolf, and Nazis.
Nope.
Holding that symbol up, getting ready to smash those Nazis down there at the bottom.
That
Does
is
he have a Hitler mustache on him?
No, that's just the shading.
yeah. The monsters are fighting the Nazis.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, because he's about to smash those Nazis that are down there below him with that. This one was about a cell of Nazi sympathizers in America, and they kind of took them out, took a whole town out, burned the whole town down. Son of Crom made me buy this one. I just have to show this one off again. This is a magazine.
There.
And primarily I had to get it because of the cover artist. The cover artist is Bigby McFly, the comic guy. He did this cover.
wow.
What?
Yes. He did the art and the lettering for a story inside of it as well.
Huh.
Oh, that's
Very
awesome.
talented man.
He is. And so when I saw it on Son of Crom, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to get on eBay. I'm going to have to find me one. And there was only one. There may be another one that comes up at some point in time, but this is the only one. This is issue number 16
Wow.
of Dark Discoveries.
I'm writing it down.
That's what I'm doing. I'm giving you time to write it down.
I'm writing it down. Did you say issue 6?
Issue 16.
16.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the list.
And it is beat up. They put it in a bag. They didn't even put a board or anything else in it. They just put it in a bag and shipped it. I was like, I don't care. I got it. Doesn't matter. But this is really cool. And he did like an interior story. Here's part of the interior story.
Those look like they're glossy pages too.
Yes.
That's some nice printing.
So he did this story in here.
Wow.
Bigby McFly, the comic guy.
Yep.
I can stop. If we need to go on, I can go on.
All right. Let me get my face here. And okay, you guys showed a couple books, newer ones that I put to the side, so you thinned my pile a little bit. I still have quite a bit. Now, I am going to start off with these are all stuff I got in the last month. And this first stack here I'm starting with, I'm thumbing through it to make sure I get it all. I'm counting as one. I have an issue. My issue, Nate, is I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I love Buffy.
So when I find them in dollar bins and I don't have them, I am going to get them all. Regardless if I have them or not, I'm getting them all.
Nice.
So yeah, when they were with Dark Horse, they did a thing where it was all the photo covers.
Mhm.
Right.
Let me see if I can find one, which most of them were, but then they did art covers too, which were kind of cool. So it's like an A and a B thing.
I was gonna say I worked at a comic book store when these were coming out, and it was
This was like late '90s, I think.
yeah, there were always 2 covers.
Yeah, the show was still on at that time.
Mhm.
But yeah, come on. And luckily enough, my wife lets me get these. She understands the obsession. I mean, back in the day, I was part of the fan club and got my little card in the wallet. And I went so far as that I have a movie poster, the original one with Christy Swanson.
I love
And I
that
found
movie.
her at a con
Oh, yeah.
to sign the sucker for me. So Yeah.
Really?
Paul Rubens was just
Wasn't
outstanding in
Donald
that.
Sutherland her trainer in the original movie?
Thinks,
Yes.
Oh, yes, he was. He
I
was
thought he
original
played that
actor.
part very well.
All right, so that was that stack. That was a big stack to get out of the way. I do have a big stack, so I'll try to run through them really quick. Where Monsters Dwell, number 1. You need a Cyclops cover. There you go. And what I love about these old, most of these old 70s monster magazines or comics like this were reprints. I love how they always put the lady in red.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little iconic thing that they do. But yeah, got this one off of a claim sale for a couple bucks. Couldn't pass it up. I just shared this one Saturday. Chilling Adventures in Sorcery, as told by Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. So this was at a time in the early 70s when Archie Comics was trying to branch out a little bit. So they were doing like kind of the sci-fi fantasy horror stuff. So I think this was only a 6-issue series. I have a couple of them. I think you can find them. Red Circle Comics, I think, is the other title for these horror ones. Very interesting.
Are they more mature than the general Archie
they're
stories?
straight up horror anthology for at that time,
Yeah.
So very different. And I know they've kind of brought these back in recent years, but with the actual Archie character, some of them, it's almost like they took the Archies and turned them into the Scooby Gang a little bit, and more of the modern stuff. You'll recognize this one, Nate. Man Bat. I see these suckers. I pick them up now.
Yeah. That one especially had eluded me for the longest time, and then I got it in that AOK.
Yeah, the one that I'm trying to find right now is the Iron Lantern. Where
that's another hard one to find. Yeah.
So here's a favorite of mine. I started finding these in dollar bins, and I absolutely love the artwork in these.
Yes.
Joe Hubert did a lot of the covers of these. But yeah, this one is number 105. So this was pretty late in the series. Very cool, iconic covers, though. You like kind of the creepy stuff. Favorite that was an instant buy. Did not know this existed, but when I found it, I was like, yep, that's mine.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite movies of all time. So if they made a comic about it, I got to check it out.
Is it he's coming for you, Barbara? Is it Barbara?
Night. That's Night.
Yeah, that's Night. That's the original, but same world.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love this movie because I remember being young, and after watching the original, whenever I went into a mall, you do that look around. It's like, yeah, this will work.
Yeah, the 70s Dawn of the Dead in the mall with the 70s music soundtrack. It's so good.
All right, so this one is called Werewolf by Dell. This is number 1 collector's issue. Now, I didn't know what this was. I'm like, oh, it's werewolf. It's got to be about werewolves, right? Loosely based. It's a spy comic, but he befriends a wolf, and it's a weird story. Like, yeah, somehow he started getting like where he has wolf attributes just because he was stranded in the wild with wolves. I don't know.
Makes sense.
I'll admit it was a cover buy. I said, oh, werewolf, I want that.
Yeah.
I love cover buys.
Here's another old series that I absolutely love the covers, The Witching Hour. This is late in the run too. Halfway, 41. But I like how they always featured either the crone or like they worked skulls in it a lot. This was a series that even just besides the cover buys, I love the stories. They're just so out there.
Yeah, I have not dipped my toe into Witching Hour, and I know it's not far away.
That's a good one. Some big artists, you look at these horror comics from the 70s. There's a lot of big artists that did covers or interiors on them. I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to check this out. Since we all had a Batman, I had to bring a Batman. Batman and Batgirl, Man Batman. This is let's see, number 416 of Detective Comics. So yeah, what did I pay for this? I didn't pay that much, but I found this in a discount bin. I got this for like $6.
That's awesome. I've never seen that one before.
No, I
The
don't think I've
colors
seen it
are what made poppin'. I was like, ooh, look at that.
Yeah, that green is very odd,
Yeah.
but cool.
Mon would like this one if he was here. Bing Bam
Yep.
Boom. This is
Yep.
Where Monsters Dwell, number 21. Obviously a reprint of his first appearance, but still, it's Jack Kirby, right?
Yeah.
Good way to. That's another thing I like of these reprints. It's a good, cheap way to check out
Yes.
these old stories. Another one he would probably like. Monsters on the Prowl.
Oh, Titan.
Yeah, a good Titan cover. And I love the guy that I got this at. He had just long boxes at a show, and he's like half off everything. He had so much he wanted to move it.
Dangerous words.
Yeah. Okay, Nate, like you being a child of the 80s, I could not resist Elvira. This was my favorite cover from that series.
Yeah.
Kind of a good girl, almost peekaboo
Yes.
cover. I love the contrast of the black and then her very, very, very pale skin. Yeah, this was a dollar buy. I found
that's great. That's one I don't have yet for the run, and I agree. That's a great cover.
Yeah, I think this is what started me chasing the run because I read it and I'm like, oh, this is just like the regular House of Mystery. It's just they have her in the beginning and the end, like her TV show. So very cool art, very cool story. And then since we're on the topic of Elvira, I didn't know this one existed. And this is a long-standing series. I looked up how many issues. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, this is going to be one of those. I'm just going to look at what covers I like and get those ones.
How many
Yeah.
issues is it?
It's like 140 something issues.
Wow.
It like ran for, I think, almost 15 years. I think
And
it started in the 80s and went into just over 2000.
And I'm like you. I didn't know that existed till someone showed it on their stream, and
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I not know that a book that ran for that long existed?
I mean, it's Eclipse Comics. Claypool is the publisher, I guess, but it's through Eclipse. So yeah, I didn't know this existed. And I was like, wow. Now I know how she made her money.
I wonder if it was maybe carried more with periodicals like magazines than with comic books.
Yeah,
you know,
it could be. But yeah,
Like,
I don't even remember seeing this back in the day.
I don't either, and I've been going to comic book shops for damn near 40 years at this point.
Yeah. All right, so I got a couple more. I'll run through them real quick. So I found this. Surprisingly, I did not have Predator versus Robot Fighter. We'll mash up with Valiant and Dark Horse back in the day. But not only was there one, but there was two. And I love Barry Windsor Smith, so of course I got to get them both.
Yes.
And then I already have the trades for this, but being a cover collector, if I see a vampire or zombie cover, I am gonna get it. This is, let me see if I can get a vampire Batman. That's just terrifying to me. And then on top of it, in the bin, they also had my boy Hal as a vampire. Look the glow around him.
That is, what series is that?
So this is the original DC versus Vampires. This is the variant cover for number 2, and the other one was number 1. So yeah, I've been picking up the variant covers for this series and the Deceased series, which right there got Zombie Wonder Woman, which also terrifies me.
Yeah.
And then I have the big books. So these big books, I actually just filmed the unboxing for this, that it's going to go up tomorrow, I hope. Let's start with this one that's been on my list forever.
Whoa.
I absolutely fell in love with this series. Gene Colan's artwork in here is just phenomenal. This is an Adams cover, Neil Adams, but he did some of the covers. Gene Colan did most of the interiors for almost a whole run. Who would have thought that Marvel could come out with a series with Dracula, the villain? I mean, he is the villain. He's no middle ground. He has his reasons. No, he's straight up drink your blood and move on. So yeah, I absolutely love this series. I've been getting Werewolf by Night also. All those Marvel monsters of the 70s. I love them. And this was the first one that I originally was like, yeah, I'll just look for the trade. One thing led to another. And I'm almost done with the whole run. I think I have like 9 more.
Wow.
That's a huge pickup, man. Congratulations on that one.
So I was super happy to have that one. And then this one's another one. I just saw this for the first time yesterday. It's been sitting in a box for like 2 weeks. And this is a big splurge for me. I had to get Mephisto's first appearance. This has been a book that's been so outpriced for me for a long, long time.
This is the reprint. This isn't the original.
And it's like, I love Silver Surfer. Some of the first comics I got from this series, my dad gave me back in the 70s to read. And ever since then, I was hooked on the Silver Surfer and this artist, John Buscema. I love John Buscema. I love his stuff on Conan, Surfer. I love the stuff he did on Wolverine's first volume. But this cover just, I don't think my camera's even doing it justice, how this just pops, the colors. And this book has been so expensive for years. And I think it's that time right now, a lot of books diving down. I couldn't pass up. It was a good deal I got from Cheddar. He had on one of his IG claim sales. I was like, dude, I can't resist that. It's so cool. So yeah, I may have to chase the rest of the Surfer runs now.
Like you said, the artwork inside there is absolutely phenomenal. You know, people talk about the cover of like number 4 also, but you look inside and his Loki inside there is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like you, I got them in reprints, but that's how I was able to read them when I was a kid, was through these reprints.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to have half that series from my dad. So the ones that I needed to get were like the big ones, like this one, number 1, and I think it's number 4. He fights Thor on the cover. So
yeah, 4 is very iconic.
And then I got one last thing that I put aside just for you, Nate. And it's a real scary cover. So you got your pencil and your pad ready?
I got it.
I found this in a bin that going through, collection bulk that I have. And I found this scary thing.
Holy
wow.
Alley Cat number 1. It came out, I think, 1999, 2000.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Right up your alley.
Find info on this, and I cannot find much info on it. I think basically this, what's her name? Allie Baggett, who is the cover model here.
Okay.
Character as like a promotion for her own career. Somehow I think she talked Image into make it in a comic book, and on top of it you can buy the action figure of Alley Cat.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing.
I'm like, I asked my wife, let's see, 1999. I asked my wife, I said, what's her superpower? That Bagheera is holding her in there? Or, I mean, holy
gravity control.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only do I have 1, I have number 2.
What is that?
That is
or something.
That is not okay.
And then what's this? This is number 3.
Wow.
I think there's only 6 issues. That's all I could kind of come up with. And then this one was the prelude from Dynamic Forces.
A prelude.
Yeah.
The story before the story.
So I just gave you a quest.
I am floored. I mean, I'm already chasing the ferret over here.
Yeah, well, and I know you like your trashy
nonsense. I mean, that would so win in just a nonsense off when it comes to comics, and that's a hell of a find. I'm so glad that I was here to be a part of it.
I had to do it before you cut out.
That is awesome.
That's
Thank
amazing.
You.
Anyway, does anybody else have some last minute books they want to show off? We're at about an hour and a half right now. And I know some of us have to cut out. And you're good, Mr. Akins?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, after that, I mean, what could I show?
After that climax. Sorry.
I got a couple left, only a few.
You got a couple left, Steve? Okay.
Go, Steve.
Yeah. Here's another
Okay.
long Halloween special, and I really love the bat signals of pumpkin.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
That's what I really like about that cover. And here's an alien versus zombies.
Oh my gosh.
And the zombies must be in the middle because they're like in a different color than these alien looking things.
That's a trigger book for me, Steve. Zombies. That's all you had to say.
And I love this cover because they open up Frankenstein's head,
Yeah.
and it has an assortment of all the horror.
I think
creatures.
DC is bringing Shade back. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw some kind of promotional for that team.
That would be cool. I think Jeff Lemire wrote that. I want to check it out.
And in my last book, what kind of show would it be without a decapitation?
Yay.
There
Very
we go.
cool.
That's Edgar Allan Poe.
That's cool.
That's
Snicker
really
and
cool.
Pear.
And that's an homage to I think it's a Tales from the Crypt. It's one of the EC books.
Yeah, the trade dressing's
Boys
kind of cool. And
Yeah, there's a Wolverine variant of that
There's
that
a
I'm trying to
Wolverine
track
variant of
down.
that as well.
That's
Very
really cool.
Steve. Well, all right, let me see if we got any last people chit chatting. And thank you guys for joining us for the live stream today.
Thanks for having us.
I hope we didn't hurt your wallets too bad. I think we hurt each other's wallets a little bit tonight.
There's a run on Alley Cat. Bye.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, oh my god, these comics they're going up in price.
Tell your LCSs to pump up the prices.
There were a lot of people chatting tonight too. So
yeah, I had a hard
for
time
that.
keeping up with chat, you guys. But that's a good thing, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
I urge you guys to check out all these awesome content creators online. I will have links down below for everybody. And I actually just realized, I am a dummy. I created all these fancy banners for you guys, and I didn't use them when you guys were showing books. So I'm going to show them a little bit now, but I will have links to all these guys' pages down below that you can click on. I got to add Mr. Akins what on the comic rack yet because I was trying to be sly and be secret there. But yeah, check them out. Check out their content. And guys, I appreciate you guys coming on, showing off some spooky books. I'll have to go back and rewatch and write some of these down. Hopefully we don't have any more shenanigans like we did in the beginning of the show. Seems a little quiet now. So
we had some good laughs.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys had fun. And I need to find, here we go. Here's all my stuff. But guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Happy Halloween. And while you're out there, happy questing, and we will talk to you guys later.